Are smokers eligible to receive compensation from the asbestos trust funds? I hear it all the time. Yeah, I worked around asbestos, or I washed my spouse's asbestos-covered clothes every day, but I'm a lifelong smoker, so why would I qualify for an asbestos settlement if I got lung cancer? Well, the reason why smokers are eligible for asbestos compensation is that asbestos and cigarettes work together in tandem to cause cancer. Non-smokers exposed to asbestos are 5 times more likely to develop cancer than those who are not exposed. Smokers are 10 times more likely to develop lung cancer than non-smokers, but smokers who were exposed to asbestos are 50 times more likely to develop lung cancer than people who didn't smoke and weren't exposed to asbestos. And that's why asbestos compensation is available from the trusts to even lifelong smokers. In fact, I've recovered millions of dollars from the asbestos trusts on behalf of lifelong smokers who developed asbestos-related illnesses. Many companies in the asbestos industry had scientific proof and warnings by their own company doctors that asbestos harmed your breathing and led to a number of diseases, including several types of cancer. But instead of being responsible and warning consumers with a label on their products, or ensuring that their employees had proper protective gear, the asbestos companies hid what they knew and denied that asbestos posed a danger. They hid it for decades, and they were only able to hide it for so long because it usually takes decades for asbestos illnesses to appear after somebody was exposed to asbestos. When people started filing lawsuits for their breathing problems and cancer, a mountain of evidence was finally revealed that proved the asbestos industry had not revealed what it knew about the dangers of asbestos, either to employees or to consumers. In the 1940s, asbestos companies even covered up research showing that asbestos causes lung cancer. When it was proven that the asbestos companies covered up the dangers of asbestos, everyone could see that asbestos manufacturers were going to owe a lot of money to all the people with health problems caused by their exposure. They also knew that many of those people might not realize they had asbestos illnesses until decades later. Even with U.S. asbestos consumption peaking in 1973 and dropping over the next 3 decades, estimates of the number of individuals exposed to asbestos in the U.S. range from approximately 27 million to 100 million people. Courts did not want all the money to get used up before people even knew they'd been harmed. So bankruptcy courts ordered the asbestos companies to put all of their insurance money and other assets into trusts to preserve the money for the decades to come. About $30 billion has been placed into trusts, and that money can only be used to compensate people harmed by asbestos exposure. Billions of dollars have already been paid to industrial workers, their families, and others injured by asbestos. Billions of dollars still remain to be distributed, and smokers are definitely eligible to receive compensation for their illnesses. I want to be clear, a lifetime smoker who develops lung cancer is just as eligible for a settlement as someone who never smoked. That's because asbestos exposure and smoking have what health researchers call a synergistic effect. If you smoke, you're 10 times more likely to develop lung cancer than a non-smoker. If you're exposed to asbestos, you're 5 times more likely to develop lung cancer than someone who wasn't exposed. Adding those risks would mean a smoker exposed to asbestos is 15 times more likely to develop lung cancer. But you don't add the risks, you multiply them. That's right. A smoker who is exposed to asbestos is 50 times more likely to develop lung cancer than a non-smoker with no asbestos exposure. The National Cancer Institute and many decades of health research have shown that there is no safe level of asbestos exposure. People exposed to asbestos in their 20s had developed asbestos-related illnesses and cancers in their 70s and 80s, and that holds true whether they were smokers or not. If you'd like to learn more about applying for compensation through asbestos trusts, we have videos and downloads on our website and YouTube channel, or you can get in touch with us through the contact information below. Asbestos trust claims is all we do. As you may know, my grandmother and grandfather were both exposed to asbestos on the job, and they were both lifelong smokers, and they both died from lung cancer. They died before I became a lawyer, and when they died, no one in my family knew that smokers were eligible for asbestos trust settlements. I found out too late to help my family, but maybe I can help yours.